Lewis Hamilton and world champion Max Verstappen have been warned to not let their bitter rivalry evolve into a festering resentment. Red Bull star Verstappen secured a maiden world title in dramatic and controversial circumstances on Sunday after he and title rival Hamilton went into the season finale at the Yas Marina circuit tied on points. The Dutchman passed the seven-time world champion, who had dominated for much of the race, on the final lap as a late safety car and tyre change swung momentum in his favour. The 24-year-old made the move on the Brit early in the lap and held on to secure the first championship of his career. The controversial ending saw Mercedes lodge two protests that were quickly dismissed by the FIA, while the Silver Arrows announced they were withdrawing their appeal on Thursday. Hamilton and Verstappen's battle for the championship was captivating as tension mounted throughout the season, with many placing their rivalry among the best in F1 history. The duo have been compared to Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna, whose explosive rivalry in the late 1980s and early 1990s took hold of the sport. Prost and Senna genuinely disliked one another before the Frenchman retired, and former world champion Damon Hill hopes the controversial finale to the epic 2021 season does not further sour the relationship between Verstappen and Hamilton. Hill compared them to rivalries in his own career on the F1 Nation podcast, and said, "I always felt with Michael Schumacher that he never thought I was a worthy opponent. Then once I beat him in the wet and I think he was slightly impressed by that, so I got the sense that, at least on that occasion, I was worthy, and he came and congratulated me after that race as well. It's great when it happens like that. Let's have another bash next year and put this behind us, not let it fester. It would be awful if it was a festering resentment that sometimes happens with other drivers. Like between Senna and Prost, it got very ugly and lasted for quite a while. Given the circumstances in which seven-time champion Hamilton lost out on a record-breaking eighth title, Hill believes he deserves credit after the Brit was incredibly composed and dignified in defeat. There are reports that Hamilton could retire following his Abu Dhabi heartbreak. Massively impressive dignity in defeat, and I think in some ways, that can also be a way of winning as well, added Hill. It's not an exact science, our sport, and sometimes it goes against you and you might feel aggrieved, but everyone gave their best and he recognized the greatness in Max, and Max has acknowledged that in Lewis. They have found their worthy opponent. Mercedes' fury is largely aimed at FIA race director Michael Masi following a season of odd decisions which went both for and against the German manufacturer. Masi made a series of questionable calls throughout the year, but none more so than the decision to not allow cars to unlap themselves, as is tradition, only to change his mind to set up the final lap showdown between Hamilton and Verstappen on Sunday.